Hello everyone. If you're new here, I'm Carla of TinyAngryCrafts. Today I'm going to be telling you all about the wonderful world of building your own 1930s wardrobe. Now, building a 30s wardrobe is something that I've been trying to do for the past 3 years, though I have been wearing vintage since 2012. A lot of times when it comes to wearing older clothes, there are a few problems you have to deal with. Scarcity of the garment, the age of the garment, the price of the garment. But I can break it down with 3 simple ways for you to have your own wonderful old Hollywood style. The 1930s are an oft-forgotten decade of fashion, in my honest opinion. Now, I am not a fashion or dress historian. I am just a lover of older clothes and someone who's spoken with family members who were alive during this time. I was very fortunate enough to have been able to know my great-grandmother, my grandfather's mother. She would often tell me of the clothing that she would wear when she was younger, and it fascinated me. This will not be a deep dive into 1930s clothes. This is just how I did it and how you can do it too. First, let's start with the traditional method of acquiring vintage: shopping for it.
Alright, so when you start off in vintage, you have to wear your base garment. So a slip is paramount. You need a slip. No ifs, ands, or buts. This garment I actually got from Buffalo Exchange. It's a, air quote, high-end thrift store. I love it to bits and pieces. When shopping for 30s clothes, your best bets are eBay, Etsy, or a proper vintage shop. Just use your basic search parameters and you will find something, I promise you this. Due to clothing scarcity, a lot of the clothing items you will find will be priced up. Be prepared for this.
Now, let's go to the second method: pulling from what you have in your closet, or thrifting.
Pulling items from your closet or using thrift stores is a more cost-effective method to dress 30s. This is an 80s dress. A lot of clothing from the 1980s took its inspiration from the 1930s, which, because fashion is a giant circle, it is quite helpful in that regard. I personally love garments like this, the 80s does 30s, because it preserves the original 30s garment. You can pop this in the wash, you can send this to the cleaners without fear of the garment becoming ruined or destroying decades of a garment. Even the 1970s used its inspiration from the 30s. So just use a discerning eye and go about this in a manner that is suiting for you. Because this is all about you. You're the one who wants to go on this fun adventure and find a new style. Approximating your 30s clothes is a fun exercise in learning fashion history. So just go out and try it. I believe in you.
And third, let's DIY it. Sew your own 30s clothes.
Now this garment is obviously the one I did my intro in, and I will be doing a making of video very soon, so please look out for that. It's a Hooverette and it's very comfortable. It's something that women wore during the Depression era and I love it. It's the best thing ever. One way to build your 30s wardrobe is to use authentic 30s patterns. Now they take some fixing to get them to fit right, but it's totally doable and looks great. Here I am with my friend Lauren of Wearing History in a repro that she redigitized. And another. Beach pajamas were all the rage back then. Now, Vintage Pattern Lending Library is where I got my Hooverette pattern. They are great. I love them. Please utilize them. Wearing History is owned by my friend. I love this site. It's great. Please, please, please. And Ava dress patterns I haven't purchased from yet, but I'm willing to give them a shot. They look like they have some great items, so let's see.
One method of making sure that your 30s wardrobe is picture perfect is looking through primary sources. Finding those various magazines, photographs, film even, from the 30s. It's one of your best ways to go about building that wardrobe.
Now, please, please, please remember that there is no such thing as the vintage police. No one is going to ding you for being, air quote, inaccurate, because accuracy is fake and we should stop perpetuating that myth. Anyways, if you want that look, air of accuracy, use your sources. It gives a crisper look, in my opinion, and it's quite fun. But here's the thing, we're all here to have a little bit of fun, so don't sweat it. If you are not the size, because everyone of every size existed back then. If you're not the color that you see the most often of, because, you know, people of color were not invented at random intervals. We existed back then too. But just find what makes you happy in your vintage clothing journey. Please, I'm begging you. It'll be great. We need more people here having fun. By the way, in this snip, we are looking at a travel magazine that is showing off various fads of the time, which I thought was very, very nice. Another thing you're going to want to keep in mind for building your 30s wardrobe is the use of color. You may think, oh, the Depression era, the colors are sad and boring. No, no. Colors were poppin'. They were very bright. They were very cheery. As a way to brighten the lives of the people that wore them. A lot was happening at that time, and clothing was considered an escape. People were building their clothes from feed sacks. People were making do and mending before making do and mending was a thing. And I find that great. Just a great way to show off ingenuity in times of strife. Now I know what you're thinking. Hey Carla, why do you love the 30s so much? The lines of the garments is what initially drew me to it. The structural ingenuity that the garment makers utilized just pulled me in and never let go. And for that, I'm very grateful, because otherwise I wouldn't have such a unique form of dressing. Now here are some close-ups from the pages that I just flipped through. And even in the mid-30s, they were aware of how fast the silhouette was changing. Sweeping right above the ankle, and the various lines that were involved, just, they knew what they were doing.
Your second method are with books like these, your secondary resource. They are full of so much information, but they are written by someone that is a contemporary to us. But that shouldn't knock their importance.
This book right here is The Goat. I have the other version of it, but it is a superb resource when you can't find or afford the primary resource that shows you how the garments looked. I love this so much. It's a must in everyone's book library, book collection, whatever. I find that seeing what the average person would purchase at the time is a wonderful way to see what the average person of today would wear. Not everyone wore the long, sweeping, flowing gowns. They would wear skirts and nice blouses and sweaters. Just your wardrobe basics built up. I could probably do an entire video on this book. It's wonderful. It's chock full of so much inspiration, so much fashion. I love it. Pick it up, please.
Thank you all for joining me today on this fun adventure for building your own 1930s wardrobe. Maybe someday I will have one for our masculine presenting friends, but that's something that I haven't really explored yet. On behalf of myself and all the other content creators that have participated in COSI, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. Bye!